What's up, everybody? It's Kyle with another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. So, gonna dive right into it. Got a lot to do today. Already had a great morning, productive. Got some recreation time in. A lot of good stuff. So, continuing on, plan to finish this book before the new year. Again, it's a book, 50th Law, that I've read multiple times. We're just going back through it. Let me start with this. I made a short video a little bit about this yesterday, but it was about caring when things happen, but don't care. Don't put too much emphasis when things don't go the way you planned. Learn from it, move on. In the book, they talk about forgetting is a skill that you must develop in order to have emotional flow. If you cannot help but feel anger or disgust in the moment, make it a point to not let it remain the following day. When you hold on to emotions like that, it is as if you are putting blinders on your eye. You have to be able to clear the calculator in your life. This is something that I don't want to say I pride myself on, but I'm become fairly good at. I hit zero, clear out the calculator, and it's rare that I let a thought capture me in a negative way for a period of time. That's where self-awareness comes in. That's where the importance of your daily breathing and your daily prayer comes in. And I got to tell you, I'm really getting into my faith, studying the Bible, which is really cool for me. It's something I've always wanted to do. And the more I study it and the more I realize the symbolism within it, the deeper meanings within it. And guys, I have faith that there's no reason to worry in my life. I usually don't worry much anyhow. There's nothing to worry about. And that kind of leads into what I jotted down here, what I just told you. I wrote down the word Stoicism. So I remember earlier, let's see, maybe it was a year ago, within the past year or so, one of my good friends and mentors, Vince, reached out to me. And he said, "Do you study Stoicism?" And I said, "I don't really study it. I know what it is." And he said, "Well, I'm starting to study it." And I was reaching out to the people in my life that are Stoics, that I think are Stoics. And what he was referring to was when we opened the gym. And he's known me for almost 10 years now. The ability to not get too high or too low, not get too emotional when we were getting all that media coverage, just being even keeled, right? If you're going to have everything in life, and I always talk about this, is a pendulum. When you talk about the body, when you talk about how the body processes food, training, everything. Your emotions are the same way. Women have more emotional swings than men. If men have too many emotional swings, again, that pendulum's over here, maybe you're really high, guess what? It's going to swing back over here. It's going to be really low. You want to stay in that tight window. And sometimes this comes naturally for some people. Sometimes it comes, you can improve it, I should say, through self-awareness. Think about that. Periodically reinvent yourself. Periodically reinvent yourself. The great Thomas Plummer coached me for a couple years. Fitness legend. I heard he was retired now. I was with him literally the week before the COVID craziness started, March of 2020. We went out to dinner with Vince and my boy BK and my friend Joe. And Thomas pulled me aside. He says, "Time for you to reinvent yourself. It's time for you to reinvent yourself and really kind of just let people into your world a little more as far as your different interests and whatnot." And I think that's was timely. And then I read this, right? You got to constantly reinvent yourself. You got to let the old you die when it's time for the old you to die. Don't hold on to what you were. I was thinking about this last night when I was playing basketball. I played basketball for the first time in a year and a half. A little sore today, nothing too bad. a little rusty. But I caught myself thinking, when I was younger, basketball was my thing. I played in different leagues, playing in high school. And I let it define me. Now listen, I learned a lot from training for basketball. I learned a lot about discipline, skill development, met a lot of great people, have a lot of great memories. And then when I was competing in bodybuilding early on, I let that define me. Those don't define me. Those were parts of my life, things that I had fun with. I can still have fun with basketball. If I ever choose to, I can compete in bodybuilding again. And just like in jiu-jitsu, last week I got my blue belt. 4 years it took me to get that. And it's really cool to get promotion and see progress. But I've never defined myself as a white belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm a student. I'm learning, and I'm getting better. And that's it. But constantly reinvent yourself when the time comes. You come to view periods of stability and order with mistrust. When things get stable and too much order, you can be sure that if you let it remain, you're going to start backsliding. You cannot stay stable as much as you think in life. Growth or destruction, for lack of a better term. Atrophy or hypertrophy. Anabolic, catabolic. You might think you're staying stable, and it's okay because you have seasons of life and you have cycles of life, but don't get complacent. Moments of change and apparent chaos are what you thrive on. They make your mind and spirit jump to life. So this is very true for me. I can guarantee you that's very true for you. The times when, even if you have to do it where your back's up against the wall and it's fictional, it's made up in your head, you need those times. That's when I'm like, let's go, man. You get the guns out, guns blazing, and you start going. You have nothing to fear from moments of transition. Whenever you feel rooted and established in place, that is when you should be truly afraid. That's what I was just saying. One quote here from Ralph Waldo Emerson: people wish to be settled. Only as far as they are unsettled is there any hope for them. Be unsettled, guys. Be unsettled. Let's see, a couple more things for you, then I got a boogie. Got another interview coming up for Hillsborough 100 and Real, which can be with Carl Sanfilippo, the great Carl Sanfilippo, so you're going to want to tune into that. You need to be fearless and strategic. The second tattoo I ever got. First one on my arm was about no fear. Fearless. Doesn't mean you operate without fear. You fear less. You fear less. You don't let it control you. Key word. That's on the back of my arm. The first tattoo I ever got is on my upper back. It's a cross. And I've got 4 words written around that cross. I bet you would like to know what they are. Life involves constant battle and confrontation. Now, this is a key point. From mind mapping, we know that the brain fears judgment, conflict, right? Because the brain thinks that it's going to be putting its survival on the line. It is not. Don't worry about if people judge you. When you have periods or you have a moment that conflict is rising, a confrontation, step back and be aware that just lead with the truth. Take the emotion out of that conversation. Lead with the truth. The truth will set you free. All progress starts with the truth. Conflict and friction are almost evil. We are encouraged to be deferential and agreeable. This is the way most people view it, is what they're saying. Nevertheless, the human animal retains its aggressive impulses. And all that happens is that many people channel this energy into passive-aggressive behavior, which makes everything more complicated. I hate passive-aggressiveness behavior. And I can say I hate passive-aggressive people because it's a default mechanism most people operate with because they've never learned how to actually deal with conflict. I wrote an article this morning. I think I put it out already this morning. I wrote 2 this morning, so I'm not sure which one I put out. which you can find on the Facebook page, and soon you'll be finding all of them on kylenewell.com. People are doing the best they can with what they got. So when people behave with passive-aggressive behavior, don't really judge the person. Just call it out. Say, look, you're better than this. What are you actually feeling? You need to be able to have conflict. Conflict is healthy. One of the biggest factors when a team falls, it's fear of conflict. Realize that the ability to deal with conflict is a function of inner strength versus fear, and that it has nothing to do with goodness or badness. You're not a bad person when you try to resolve conflict. It might sting the person, but that's stinging their ego. The ego's got to die anyway. That's how you continue to rebirth yourself. Ego stands for edging God out. When you live without the higher power, you rely on yourself, no good. The ego's got to die off anyway. And it's scary. And you cannot ever get rid of the ego fully. But you want to dampen it down and realize, again, like I was saying before, when a part of you is dead, move on. Don't hold on to it. Don't cling on to it. If you have dreams and ambitions, you know that to realize them, you have to get active, make some noise, bruise a few people in your path, and you expect others to do the same to you. It is human nature, and instead of complaining, you simply must get better at protecting yourself. Get better. That's all it is. There's going to be competition out there. Don't focus on them. Focus on yourself. Focus on getting better. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. That's where you got to put your focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you're focusing on other people, you're giving them all your energy. Don't do that. It's a complete waste of your essence. And here we go. We'll finish with this. If we are waiting and settling for what we have, it is not because we are good and nice, but because we are fearful. Let go of the fear, guys. Let go of the fear. I'm actually doing a breathing course the next 2 Monday nights. Or one of them is Monday, one of them is like a Thursday. The first one is 4 hours long. And it's going to be releasing fear in things that you're holding on to. And I could tell you that you might not think there's a lot of stuff there that you're fearful of, but there is. And I know when I do certain plant medicine and whatnot, and things like edibles, the reason I like that stuff when it's done in the right setting is because it exposes, it brings up stuff that's in the subconscious. And you realize, man, where the heck does that feeling come from? What is that? And most people shy away from that. They don't want to feel that. I embrace it because you just keep growing. You just keep growing and expanding. So that's what I got for you. Got to run. Again, I'm going to be over at the Flemington Gym doing an interview with Carl Sam Flippo in 28 minutes. So I got to hustle. And we're going to be having, in mid-January, I'll give you guys the date. You could come if you're a member, a friend, or a non-member. It's going to be a planning workshop. Got the inspiration from my coach Vince, but I'm going to do annual planning. So let the craziness of the new year die down, and we're going to be setting your goals for the whole year, planning out where you have to be as a person, business goals, personal goals, all that good stuff. So be in touch with that. It's going to be, or keep an eye out, I should say. It's going to be limited seating. I'm going to be giving you a lot of attention in that 90-minute block. All right, guys, you have a great day. Hit the like button, hit the share button, drop me a comment. Much appreciated. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.